What if you could run a multi-million-dollar e-commerce business in just 1 hour per week using a single operating system? Not because you've automated everything and not because you've built a massive team, but because you stopped being the operations manager of your own business. In this video, I'm going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at my operations backbone. I'll show you how I build it, I'll show you how I use it, and I'll show you the exact metrics that I track to allow my businesses to run without me being involved in the day-to-day operations. I'll even explain how this could work for your specific e-commerce brand if you simply send me a message on Instagram after watching this video. Now, you're probably wondering, who am I to explain this? Well, my name is James Eardley, and I've built an e-commerce brand that's generated over $2 million in revenue, and it now just requires 1 hour per week of my time to run. And today, I help other e-commerce founders who are doing over a combined $250K a month build businesses that scale without relying on the founders for day-to-day operations using this exact operations backbone. All right, let's get into it. So before I show you the operations backbone itself, how it's structured, how it works, and how it allows the business to run without relying on the founder, there are 4 core principles that you need to understand first. Because ultimately, most e-commerce founders are not trapped in their business because they lack tools or ambition. They're trapped in their business because it was never designed to run without them in the first place. And once you understand these 4 principles, the systems that I'm about to show you will make a lot more sense. So let's start with principle number 1, which is that your business must be able to run without you. Now, a big limiting belief that a lot of business owners have, and especially brand owners, is that they feel like they need to be involved in everything. Probably because of the passion they have for the product business that they're building. And so they end up getting involved in customer support or inventory issues or fulfillment needs and supplier conversations. But the moment your business depends on you fully for it to run, you no longer own a business. You actually just own a job, but you've got overheads and you've got employees potentially. And the bigger that your brand grows, the worse it gets. So the first rule of having an operations backbone that means your business doesn't rely on you is that you have to understand that your business must be able to run without you, and not in theory, but operationally day to day. Principle 2 is that clarity beats talent. Because a lot of people are going to get this wrong, and they're going to think that in order for my business to run without me, I need to hire better people. But the real problem is the lack of operational clarity. So what I mean by that is if tasks just live in Slack messages that you're offloading to different people, or just in your head, or in a few random Loom videos, then your team can't run the business because only you knows how it really works and the decision frameworks that you get. So that second rule of this second principle is that every recurring task that happens in the business must live inside a clear operational system. Not just in your head, not in a chat message, in a system that is documented and saved. Now, on to principle number 3, and that is the founder should only see exceptions. So rather than thinking that you need to monitor everything and be aware of every message or every order, every problem that comes up, the goal of a strong operations backbone is different. It's that your team will handle the day-to-day normal operations and the founder will only need to get involved if something breaks, rather than the default mode being the founder involved in everything and the team only helping out with difficult situations. It has to be the other way around, meaning that your job as the founder becomes reviewing the business, overseeing decisions, and unlocking the problems when they occur. And that's it. And now on to principle 4, and that is the weekly oversight beats daily involvement. So this is all about getting out of the business in the weeds day to day. Instead of checking Slack all day, answering messages, jumping into random projects that just pop up, high leverage founders will operate differently. They'll only review the business once per week, looking at a small set of numbers and reports that tell them exactly how healthy the business is at any given time, which means instead of looking at the business day to day and working in the business day to day, you have a single CEO check-in looking at a dashboard of key metrics, and that is how you ensure that your job as a business owner is looking super high level, and that's how you can actually run a business in under an hour a week. Now you understand those 4 principles, the actual system is going to make so much more sense. So let me show you the operations backbone that I build. So every e-commerce business I work with is organized around 2 key systems. We need to get this into our minds. The first system is a revenue system, and the second system is a fulfillment system. So the revenue system is how you, as your brand, generates customers, how you find them, and how they buy from you. The fulfillment system is everything after the purchase. So that is inventory, listings, fulfillment, customer support. Once those 2 systems are clear, everything else, your SOPs, team members, metrics, reporting, can all plug into those 2 systems. So once you understand this and you can start to see your business as a machine, you'll no longer fall victim to just working on whatever feels the most urgent at the time and not really understanding which task has the most leverage and which tasks need to be documented because they form a crucial part of that system. So let me show you how we actually build this backbone. So there are 6 steps involved in building an operations backbone for an e-commerce brand. So step 1 is to visualize the business. So those 2 systems that I've just spoken about, we need to actually demonstrate how a business operates, because every business is slightly different in the way that they find customers and they allow them to purchase, and then ultimately how they fulfill those orders as well. So instead of operating out of assumptions, we actually operate out of a full mapped diagram of how the business generates customers and fulfills those customers. Once we're able to visualize that, we can see the operations in front of us, and then we can move on to step 2, which is to document the critical processes along that system. To do that, we'll build up an SOP library or a knowledge base, or think about it as the brain, the epicenter of your business, and it's documenting all of the processes along that system that we've just visualized, so we can get things out of the founder's head and onto paper, or virtual paper if you like. These SOPs are directly linked to the system map that we've created, and this means that we can get things on paper and the business is starting to be documented for how it runs day to day. Step 3 is then to optimize this workflow. Once the processes actually exist, we can see how the business is operating, and we can start to see where there's lots of manual work involved. We can start to see where there's broken handoffs between people. We can start to see the bottlenecks for how operations would start to limit itself if any of these processes are very manual or founder heavy. And so this is how we can start to look at it and really design it to work without the founder being involved. Step 4 then is to attach metrics to each of these individual processes. So we need to work out what does good look like for each of these systems or each of these processes along the 2 systems, so we can start to manage and see which part of the businesses are doing best and which part of the businesses need more work. So we'll have a dashboard and we'll start to know the metrics attached to each of the processes along that system. And this will start to become the dashboard that the founders can look at to see which part of the business are performing well and which parts need to be improved. And we can see and step back to see these things because the founder isn't so involved in the day-to-day work that they're able to take a step back and look at how the business is performing overall. Then on to step 5, and that is to assign ownership. So now we can assign a team member to each system that we've documented and ultimately each metric that we're starting to track. So each system should have a clear owner, clear responsibilities, clear success metrics. And that way responsibility is moving as much away from the founder to the team as possible. Then finally, step 6 is to install a weekly reporting system. So once we've got all of the processes documented, we've got metrics, we've got people in charge of each of the areas, the team person responsible for each of those areas can just report on the area of the business that they're responsible for and report back to the founder. So as the founder, you're getting an overview of how the operations and how the business is running day to day without constantly needing to check in on the business. Now, once this backbone is installed and set up, running the business becomes incredibly simple, because instead of managing tasks all week, we're simply reviewing the health of the systems once per week, which is exactly how I run my e-commerce businesses now, and it's exactly what I put in place for founders of e-commerce brands to do as well. That way, founders can finally spend time on the growth tasks and looking at how the business is running, rather than getting pulled into the daily reactive tasks that pull you off focus and off track with your goals. So hopefully after watching this video, you can see something that's really important to scale an e-commerce brand. And that's that you can't continue to feel trapped in the business because the business was never designed in the first place to run without a founder. But once you install a clear operations backbone into your business, built around a revenue and fulfillment system, something really interesting happens. And that's that your business starts to run on structure instead of just your memory. The team knows what to do, the problems can surface early about where to improve in your business, and the founder is no longer required to solve everything in the business as well. Which means ultimately, instead of spending your time in the week in the operations, you can step in once to review the systems, unblock issues, make decisions, and the rest of your time can be spent how you want, on things that light you up, on tasks that actually drive the business forward, and ultimately living the lifestyle that you built this business for in the first place. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, this is exactly where I'm stuck right now, which means that the business is working and you're able to push this business forward, but it's still relying on you every single day, then simply send me a message on Instagram with the word backbone. And as a reward for watching this video to this point, I can tell you're serious, then we can look at your specific business and show you exactly how this operations backbone would look for your brand. No pressure. I hope you've enjoyed the video regardless. But if you are serious about turning your e-commerce store into a real company that runs without you, then it's a very valuable conversation to have. So if you found this video valuable today, feel free to drop it a like, comment to let me know if you want more of this style of video, because on this channel, I'm breaking down how e-commerce founders can build businesses that scale without the founder being trapped in the operations. So thank you for watching today, and I'll catch you in the next one.